Welcome into Tapping Vegas, brought to you by Veteran Green. Today we are breaking down UFC Fight Night, Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal. We're back at the Apex, Bobby, and if you guys haven't yet, please subscribe, like this video. Last week, Bobby, between us and the episodes that Ethan had put out for the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs, up 11 units on Saturday alone. We are trending, man, I don't remember exactly how many, but we're cruising up the ABL rankings too. Since we really kind of started pushing our bets more over there. We've been on a very, very hot streak here, winning 5 of the last 6 cards, and we're going to see if we can do it again here. Bobby, let's just get straight into it. Every week we give you guys 5 picks for some of our most confident fights that we think you guys can win money on. So let's start with the main event in the prelims. We have Rodolfo Vieira versus Eric Mecanico. We talk about Vieira all the time, so I'll let you start with it. Are we going with our boy, or are we fading him?
Yeah, at this point, Rodolfo Vieira is kind of a boy of the show. We cover him quite a bit, especially on cards like this where there's not really much to talk about.
Right.
So, yeah, him and Eric Mecanico, not a huge age discrepancy. Vieira is 36, a late bloomer. You got 35-year-old Mecanico on the other side, both 6 feet. Pretty decent reach advantage for Mecanico at 77 inches compared to 73 for Vieira. All in all, though, this isn't a fight that I particularly feel that confident on. It's definitely the fight that we're covering that, to me, has the most potential to kind of just be, I could see it going either way. We know Vieira, his biggest fault at this point is it's well known he has an absolutely terrible gas tank. That's kind of his biggest flaw is he just gasses out after round 2. Basically midway through round 2, the man is just done for. And so that's led to, getting head kicked by Bo Nickel in his last fight this past November. But at least before that, he beat Tresean Gore, lost to Petrosky, then beat Petrosky in a rematch that absolutely nobody asked for. Oh, excuse me, I got him confused with Petrosian. Armin Petrosian, he beat Andre Petrosky, he lost to. And then he beat Cody Brundage. Always good to see Cody Brundage lose out there. That guy's just a weirdo. But, I mean, he's been very hit or miss in the UFC since he arrived on the scene in 2019. He's won, and then he's won, and then he's lost, and he's lost, and he's won, and he's lost. He's just hot and cold, a guy who's never really going to probably break the top 10 of middleweight if he gets that far at this point. So it's a very interesting matchup because, I mean, the guy's one of the most gifted BJJ practitioners in the entire sport. He's definitely up there for sure. And he just hasn't really been able to consistently put it together in any type of meaningful run. Does that change? I don't know. Even if he beats Mecanico, if that does, it's just not really anything emphatic about beating a guy who's 10-4-1 is kind of what I'm getting at. He's 35. He hasn't had too many fights. He's coming off another KO loss himself. He was finished by a right hook by Susukov back in, on that same damn card, it looks like, November 2025. And then he also beat Cody Brundage, so he's Eskimo Brothers there with Vieira. Lost to Nursultan Rizabov, no shame there. Rizabov looks pretty decent. Other than that, he's very, very young into that UFC career. Just made that debut against Rizabov last February, so a hell of a debut to be asked to go up against him. And then to beat Brundage, lose to Susukov, there's not just much to go off of because the UFC is just an entirely different ball game at this point. So it's kind of hard to kind of know where you're going to go based off that spotty of a record. All in all, though, I think I will go Vieira here. I'm not thrilled about it. Just, Mecanico doesn't even have any losses by sub so far in his very young career. 100% of his losses of the 4 that he's had have all come by KO, TKO, which we know Vieira is not a guy with power in his hands, so that's not going to happen. But, it wouldn't be out of the question to think that maybe this could be his first sub loss to Vieira before Vieira gasses. It's kind of what I'm going with on my gut here. I mean, Vieira has the UFC experience edge there. The age, like I mentioned, isn't too crazy. The wear and tear on both guys isn't too crazy. And then he definitely has the grappling submission edge. So the best chance for McConaughey in this fight is obviously going to be, trying to KO TKO, try and keep it standing, and then maybe get a KO TKO in the second or third round as Vieira predictably gasses type thing, which could definitely happen. But for some reason, my official prediction, I'm rolling with Vieira on this. It's not too crazy. You're getting a minus 290 on the money line for Vieira. Plus 235 if you go McConaughey. You got 75% of bets according to DK are on Vieira, 25% are on McConaughey. You can take the edge off a little bit if you select a Vieira method. You got plus 550 KO, plus 175 sub, plus 200 decision. I could see sub or decision. I don't think he's going to get the KO. If anybody does, it'd be McConaughey. So, I think I'll go. I think I'll go sub at plus 175 for Vieira. What do you think?
I think you're on the right track there, Bobby. Right now, you can actually get one of those submission no actions for Rodolfo Vieira. So if this is saying it's going to be if this is going to be a win or lose bet, it has to be by submission. Otherwise, you get your money back. I'm going to take Rodolfo Vieira submission only at minus 8,000.
All right. Well then.
No, not really. An interesting one, though, like actually not joking around, is you can get Eric the McConaughey decision no action. So, because like if you're really fading Vieira winning, not gassing out, because I would not want to put my money on Vieira to go 3 full rounds. And still win. So you can get Eric money line decision no action at plus 150. So you can get that at a plus money bet. I almost want to do that, but we don't really. That's just kind of a nice bet that I found. We usually don't actually do those for the show. We'll give you either a method or a money line. 76. Bobby said it moved to 75. At the time that I pulled these, he had 76% of the money was on Vieira, and or 76% of the bets, 56% of the money. So we're seeing a pretty sharp lean coming in on Eric. He does have a 4-inch reach advantage. He is the better striker, but once again, they both fought Brundage, and I'm not trying to do MMA math, but my thought process here is McConaughey went to a decision with Brundage, whereas Vieira finished him, and I just think that just shows you that Vieira is the more dangerous fighter. And I'm not saying that, like, once again, for MMA math, because that one in particular, I'm just saying that's a good example that fought the same guy. Vieira was able to get the finish there. So I like that Vieira submission also plus 175, but I wouldn't hate sprinkling a little bit on that decision no action for McConaughey in case the sharps are right and it does go that way.
I like it.
Well, let's jump up to the main card here, Bobby. So the next fight we're talking about, I believe, is I think we're doing Montel Jackson and Hani Barcelos. I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised Hani is an underdog here at the plus 154. I mean, I know Montel Jackson's a good striker. I don't know, man. I just feel like Barcelos, he looked great against Talbot, and I think he's had 2 wins since then. He's looked good. He's having like a late career resurgence. Montel Jackson, I think he's only like 3 years younger. This is not a huge age gap here. The over 2.5 minus 180. So they're thinking this is probably going to go the distance. Barcelos, he's going to control this fight. If he can especially do his grappling, get some takedowns, hold him down, kind of like he did with Talbot, just work some damage in there. I think Barcelos at plus 154 is just too good for me to pass up. What do you think? Or actually, you know what? Let me throw this in real quick before I send it over to you. Barcelos, 43% of bets, 52% of the money. So about a 9% sharp lean coming in on Barcelos. Sorry, Bobby. Now to you.
No, you're good. That kind of scares me. You had me about to change my pick until the end there. That's a little bit scary that this is so public then, that we got quite a bit of money on a sizable underdog. Because
150.
Yeah, that's true, but it's still a little scary. It's still a little scary for me, It's too big. The other ones are a lot better,
You like the smaller ones?
Yeah, I like the smaller ones. The big ones hurt too much. Yeah, because I have DK has 43% on Barcelos, and you got 57% of bets on Jackson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough because when I was watching the research, I was thinking people are putting a little bit too much stock into Montel Jackson's most recent fight against Figgy that he lost a pretty close decision on. And so I thought that was kind of a too much of a course correction. They overcorrected on pivoting away from Montel Jackson was kind of how I thought that was shaping out. With what I was seeing on Tapology at the time, at least, maybe that shifted again. But I mean, seeing this with betting odds, knowing that bettors definitely are back on Montel Jackson, thinking it's an outlier. My biggest thing is like you were saying. I mean, we've kind of seen this happen already with like Montel Jackson's not that old. 33 is not terribly old for bantamweight. He should be in the prime of his career because he doesn't have that much wear and tear. 15-3 is a pretty decent record for where he is at this stage of his career and everything. And he's been in the UFC for longer than I thought. He kind of made his debut in 2018 on the Contender Series, and his first loss was to Ricky Simone in his official UFC fight, which Ricky Simone was on a tear back then. So that's a hell of a fight to have for your debut. Then after that, he had a nice little 3-fight streak. Then he lost to Brett Johns, and then he's been on a streak again until that loss to Figgy. And he's just been knocking a lot of guys out. He's known for power in his hands. He has really big hands. Everybody on Reddit just freaks out about how big the dude's hands are for bantamweight. You think this is the fucking draft tonight on this. Because, I mean, he's got 53% of his wins by KO, TKO, so you kind of understand where the hype's coming from. But, I mean, like you kind of hinted at, did we just kind of see a little sneak peek of this not that long ago with a nice little caramel Thundercat getting held down and kind of pounded out and just kind of controlled like a little sub? I mean, it's kind of a very similar story. I mean, Montel Jackson doesn't have nearly the amount of hype that Peyton Talbot was carrying into that matchup. But, I mean, you got a flashy striker, right? You know, a guy who has the majority of his wins. Peyton Talbot, 64% of his wins by KO, TKO. Exciting young guy, knocking everybody out, 3-fight finishing streak in the UFC. And then he just kind of hits this brick wall and Howney Barcelos. I like saying that. Because like you said, he has had that late career resurgence, right? I mean, another one of those kind of grizzled vets, been around also since 2018, came in, won his debut, went on a nice little 5-fight win streak. Then he lost to Teamer, lost to Henry, beat Jones, lost to Umar. I mean, he's really only lost to a few people. And, you know, since that Kyler Phillips loss, almost 3 years now. Yeah, he's riding a 4-fight win streak over Ricky Simone. Cody Garbrandt doesn't impress me. Cody Garbrandt's unfortunately a corpse, but Peyton Talbot was good. Keonis was good. You know what? You've convinced me to change it. I'll have to change it in Tapology as well. We'll see if I regret it. Because when I was doing the research, what concerned me with the Figueiredo fight was he did get controlled just enough that I felt like that is what swayed the decision in Figueiredo's favor, was the fact that, you know, Jackson was making him fight for those takedowns. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't just accepting the position like a lot of fighters who definitely are not strong grapplers would do. He was constantly looking to reverse, constantly looking to get back to his feet, disengage, go back to striking. But he was just constantly caught in just enough positions for just long enough. I really think that swayed the judges. And so based off how Barcelos approached that Talbot fight, I think if he's smart, he's going to take a very similar approach in this fight. Play it safe, do just enough to frustrate Jackson. Jackson can't work on his takedown defense that much, his grappling that much in that amount of time. And I think we see a Barcelos decision very similar to that Talbot fight. You've got me convinced here.
Okay. Well, I hope I didn't steer you wrong, man. And you know what? At least if we're going to switch, we're switching on to the bigger plus odds.
Right.
Let's talk about this next one, man. Davy Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinetti. Bobby, this is a pretty interesting fight. I'm going to send it over to you, see what you think.
Yeah, so we know Luna Martinetti from that amazing fight on the Contender Series with Lauden. who just fought last week, and unfortunately, that was a bit of a kind of interesting draw. For some reason, it feels like draws used to be very rare in the UFC, and now over like the past 2-3 weeks, we've seen some more
Yeah.
kind of controversial decisions and draws and things of that nature. Just some real tomfuckery going on
Yeah.
that kind of bears some watching here. But Luna Martinetti definitely, in that Volodin fight, even though Volodin, just last week had lost, well, not lost, the draw, as I mentioned. That was a good fight, man. That was an insane fight. So no, stock dropping off Volodin here. With that draw. I mean, him and Luna Martinetti just went to war. Both guys really showed off insane cardio. They showed off insane heart, perseverance, things that you can't teach, right? Things that you can't just easily learn in this sport. You either have it or you don't. And so when I was watching that fight, kind of thinking about everything with this fight, it just feels like this is prime for Luna Martinetti with this. He's 17-1. He's only 30 years old, in bantamweight. That's not terribly old. Just enough to be experienced, just enough to have some knowledge, but not, too much wear and tear, too much danger, that type of thing. I mean, he's got a huge confidence boost because, I mean, the guy hasn't lost since 2017. That's the only blemish on his pro record when it comes to MMA. I mean, he lost a grappling match in 2022, but it was just grappling. So, I mean, that's a huge confidence boost when you're coming into this and you're like, man, I've made it to the UFC. I had one of the most exciting Contender Series fights of all time with Volodin. Constantly one of the most watched Contender Series fights, things of that nature, and you're riding that win streak dating back all the way to 2017. That's huge, man. That is just a huge thing for his mental. And then the other thing is we've talked about this on the show a few times. A few weeks ago, there was another pretty big age gap. When you got Martinetti, who's 30, and Davy Grant, who's 40, especially 40 years of age
Right.
in the bantamweight division, man, that's pretty significant. And Davy Grant's 15-8, and he was a guy I had a lot of hype. I had a lot of good feelings about where his career could end up and everything when I first started watching him in 2013 and 2016 when he was active in the UFC. He had an extended period of time off from 2013 as debut when he lost up until he fought Cheeto and beat Cheeto in 2016, which, man, that's a win that's aged pretty well.
Yeah.
But he's just been too hot and cold since then. Lost the Cheeto rematch in 2021, lost to Yanez, Daniel Marcos, some of the names. Last October, he's coming off a guillotine in round one loss to Charles Jourdain, which is pretty bad when you're losing to Charles Jourdain, the guy who's just an industry plant, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I just really think this is a great fight for Martinetti since he does have such a huge edge on the use side of things, plus the momentum coming into this, plus just kind of the skills and the heart and the cardio and all those things. He's shown that he's tough. He's shown that he has a pretty nice variety of skill because he's a guy who has quite a bit of wins by sub, which is encouraging, 35% of wins by sub, 24% by KO, TKO, 41% by decision. So a pretty decent mix there of different methods and everything. So I think I really like Luna Martinetti in this. I think he's going to have – I think this is also a really good matchup because of how many sub losses Davy Grant has. For some reason, I see this fight playing out when you have Davy Grant, who 63% of his losses, 5 of those losses are by sub. What I see happening is maybe him getting clubbed and sub by Martinetti. He tries to engage with him on the feet, gets a little bit wobbled or something. Martinetti pounces on him, chokes him out that way. Seems to be very likely. Or maybe Martinetti's able to get some pressure going, get him up against the fence, get him panicking, and kind of take him down and just kind of work his magic from there. So things like that make me think that Martinetti could get the sub finish here just because, we like to play the game with statistics when it comes to MMA and do those comparisons. How does this guy lose? How's the guy he's fighting win? Does it line up? How their styles line up? That sort of thing. And surprisingly, wow, I think this might be an asleep at the wheel here because you got Luna Martinetti at a plus 114 money line and Davy Grant at a minus 135. And you got 57% of bets, though, are on Martinetti, 43% are on Grant. So that's a little bit concerning because this is so public. But I just don't know why in the first place Davy Grant is kind of looked at as the favorite here with that huge age gap coming off that loss. His kind of checkered record since he's been in the UFC for so long, things of that nature. That's kind of making me second guess myself here. And I mean, you're getting Martinetti's sub at plus 500, KO TKO at plus 1,000, decision at plus 240. So you're really getting some good methods. But I think for now, I'll play it safe and just stick at money line. And also not to, be a Debbie Downer. If this continues at this rate, this might be something that ends up getting flagged anyway, and it might end up not paying out at all. Because this is something that might end up being a moot point. But hey, all we can do is proceed with the information we have at hand. For now, though, I'm going Martinetti money line plus 115. What do you think?
I think if within the next 2 days, if Marinetti's a minus 200, to just stay away.
Yeah.
For legal reasons, stay away.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to get pulled, dog.
I can make it even worse for you. You ready for it? So He's got 57% of bets. He's got 66% of the money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They ain't letting that happen. Yeah, we probably just talked about this fight for nothing.
Right. Right.
Just be prepared for that to be avoided bet. That's all I'm saying.
It's at a plus 114. I mean, it's not, since they're barely paying out like 1-to-1 odds, it's not going to be a horrible hit. Also, how many people are actually going to end up betting on that fight? I bet the handle for that fight in particular is going to be pretty small. I'd be surprised to see otherwise, but I'm with you here on Marinetti, man. There's just nothing about Grant that's really giving me any confidence that he's going to be the one to come in and get the win, but those numbers are really weird. That's worth keeping an eye. I would, like you said, that it feels like he is going to get a finish here, and I think a lot of people might be very bullish on that and want to throw a lot on it. I'm just going to say I think it's worth saying proceed with caution here, because what does Mr. Crab smell? What does he say? Something smelly. A smelly smell.
Yeah.
The type of smell that smells smelly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some tomfoolery going on. That's all I'm saying.
Practice unit management here, guys. Don't go crazy on Martinetti.
Excuse me, Burt Macklin, FBI.
yeah. Knock at the door.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez. I mean, are there like any guys you want to bet less than Rafa Garcia and Alexander Hernandez? I mean, Hernandez looks like he's starting to turn it around, but came in as just a total hype machine and then really kind of died off there for a little bit. Starting to turn it around now. Still pretty young. Rafa Garcia, he's been going at it for a while. These odds are pretty close, and I think that's for good reason. Over 2.5 rounds instead of minus 238. Yeah, they're thinking this one is going to go to decision. So, who do you think is going to be the winner here? Looking at the money splits here, this is the only thing giving me any level of confidence in it. So 75% of bets on Hernandez, 25% on Rafa Garcia, 79% of the money on Hernandez. So we got some sharp money coming in on the favorite. And that is always very telling. So I think that alone is enough to push me onto Hernandez. I don't want to put a lot on this, but I think that's enough. Even though it's only a 4% lean, the fact that we have a lean at all on the minus 125 favorite, I mean, a lot of times, you'll sprinkle a bit on these sharps, will sprinkle a bit on the big dogs to get this nice big payout. But then when they're coin flips and you take the underdog, if it hits 50% of the time, you're making out a profitable. So the fact that they're on Hernandez the minus 125, that's enough for me. I don't see a big skill gap for either of these guys. So give me Hernandez. Give me him on the money line. Uh, let's look at just what the decision would be just for craps and giggles. Well, let's see. Hernandez decision plus 175. That's not enough to get me off the safety of the money line 125 here for Hernandez. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll play it safe with the money line for Hernandez as well. This is another fight that seems a bit fishy in terms of it seems like a pick 'em. Talk about once again career resurgence. You know, you had Alexander Hernandez coming in when he made his debut in 2018 with the little glide, little sneaky sneak punch on Beneil Dariush there in round one to get the finish.
Yeah.
And then he Olivier Aubin Mercier beat him, which was pretty impressive in 2018. And then you lose to Cowboy in 2019. That is not impressive. Then you barely beat Trinaldo, and then you drop it to Dober, and then you go spotty, and then you just lose. And then it's just like, who are you? Where are you going? Who am I? So he definitely hit a little skid there against Moicano, Quarantillo, Algio, Damon Jackson, and he's turned it around. Austin Hubbard, split decision win. Halabao, unanimous decision win. Beat Hooper with strikes in round one. Diego Fajea in round two with strikes. Fierro was looking good until he's 41 trying to fight in this division and just kind of let his prime of his career just slip on by and just wasted a lot of time. So kind of like oh boy, Gregor Gillespie is who he's always kind of reminded me of. Unfortunately, all the talent and hype in the world and just sat by and just watched it go. So it's tough because Rafa Garcia, there's nothing. I mean, I like how it's close on odds. It's not a huge favorite for Hernandez, so that's good because, I mean, Garcia's not terrible.
No.
He's 2-fight streak and everything. So it makes me a little skittish. Makes me feel like it's a little bit of a trap here because there's not much significant differences between these guys in terms of age and things of that nature to really make me very confident in either one. But yeah, I'll just go Hernandez money line since he's riding that momentum. Maybe he's got his confidence back because he's always been a pretty decent fighter. It seems like a technical fighter, has the skills and the athleticism and whatnot. Just mental block or something from getting beat by Cowboy. Maybe he's over that. So Hernandez money line, yeah.
Dude, I'm glad we're on the same page there. We got actually some decent odds from Vegas this week, so thank them for that. Let's get into the main fight here. We got Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal. I wish this was minus 110 both ways because this really feels like a pick'em fight. And then if you go down to Vegas, 50 both ways, 50% of the bets on both guys. I'm not going to give away the handle. I'll tell you the handle's close too, though, Bobby. So I want to hear what you have going for these two.
Yeah, this one I've kind of waffled back and forth on until
Same.
The past few days. Now I feel more confident though, I think I feel more confident in Zalal. The main reason is once again we're starting to get to that age, 36 in bantamweight with the wear and tear and the damage that Sterling's accumulated. This is starting to feel like that classic tale of you should probably get out before you start to look really bad, before you ruin your legacy, right? Because right now he has a very good legacy. He's, the guy that everybody thought, wow, this guy broke Peter Yan, right? He broke him by kind of baiting him into that illegal knee, and then he beat him in the split, and it kind of seemed like he kind of stole Peter Yan's confidence. And now look at the resurgence Yan's had now, having the belt again and just everything else that kind of comes with that. It kind of seemed like Sterling was just going to be champion for a very long time. Once he beat Peter Yan, it's kind of like that was probably his most challenging matchup because at least I personally, I don't lie to myself. I like to think I did not think he was going to be able. I didn't think Sean O'Malley was going to be able to beat him. I thought he was going to wrestle his ass off and just absolutely teabag Sean O'Malley the entire time, and I was wrong. So he lost the belt after, defending it against the corpse of Dillashaw and unfortunately the corpse of Cejudo.
Yeah.
Had a few grappling matches since then, came back, beat the corpse of Cater, another grappling match. No shame in losing to Evlev. Beat Brian Ortega, no shame there and beating, Brian Ortega's not looking the best, but I mean,
No.
hey, it helps if you do beat him. Losing to Evlev, I mentioned, just his last match, he, Benson Henderson wrestling at RAF, pretty good match, but once again, just a grappling type match.
Yeah.
Yusuf Zalal, I've not been a fan of on this show. Every time we've covered him, I've made it clear that I'm not a Yusuf Zalal guy, and I'm still not. But I can't deny how he's made the most of his second life in the UFC, right? When he came in 2020, won his debut, won his next two matches, and then, just hit a unfortunate streak, right? I mean, no shame in losing to Topuria. Top Toro. No shame.
Toro
Well,
boy.
Su Wong Choi, that was a bit, and then Sean Woodson at the time, that wasn't bad. Then you go to a majority draw, so then the UFC is just like, all right, dude, we can't really, at this point, you're 3-3 with a draw. We're just parting ways. So he made the most of it, went back to the regional scene, started accumulating some finishes, got signed again 2 years ago, and then came back, and the dude started finishing his first three guys. Jack Shore, that was very impressive. Billy Quarantillo was decent. Jarno Aarons, and not so much. Once again, Calvin Kattar, not so much. Once again, Josh Emmett, not so much. But, I mean, since you came back to the UFC, you've had 5 fights, and you finished 4 of them. That is pretty damn impressive. Round 2 as far as they're going, and they're all by sub. So what I'm getting at with this is I think it's just all going to catch up to Sterling. I think this is where he needs to seriously consider, what do I want my legacy to be? What do I want to be known for? I've had the belt. I defended it, a few times. How realistic is it to get that back? Maybe I have some confidence since it's a guy I beat twice. Well, technically you beat him once because the first time he beat himself, he got disqualified. Do you kind of let that kind of chase it, right? Do you fall victim to chasing it? Because even if you lose, I mean, we all know how the UFC functions. Doesn't necessarily mean you're out of the title picture. But unfortunately for Sterling, even though he's tried to promote himself and, gets his rum taken away and other nonsense and whatnot by the UFC, he's tried to promote himself. Let's just be honest. He's not exactly a company guy, which, hey, I don't blame him. I wouldn't be either, etc. My personal opinions aside, what I'm getting at is if he loses, he's not one of these guys that can just walk back into a title shot, right? He doesn't have that relationship with Dana. He doesn't have that relationship with Shelby and Hunter and all the other matchmakers and string pullers. He has to win. And if he doesn't, then that's when it's just like, maybe this is it, right? Maybe it's no shame. And hey, I was a champ. I was the 1% of the 1%. Realistically, I probably won't be able to fight my way back. It'll be a long road. I'm 36. I got all this wear and tear and everything. Maybe I do, maybe I do.
Yeah.
So maybe I do the rum full time. Maybe I do the rum. Maybe I do some other ventures. Hell, maybe I go sell real estate with Raging Al. Don't even get me started on that. So I just think with the youth, with the momentum, with having to fight his way back in to the UFC, making the most of this second opportunity, the height and the reach that he possesses over Aljo, just kind of all these attributes. I think Zalal gets it done. Obviously, we know that Aljo's going to want to wrestle. He's going to want to grapple. And what I see happening is at some point during those exchanges, during that grappling, he gets caught in a sub. And he just kind of isn't really looking for it, isn't expecting it, and he gets subbed that way. Or he tries to strike, gets a little bit too cocky like he did against O'Malley, and he ends up getting the old club and sub in that way. So I just, unfortunately, I know he's never been subbed before in his pro career. He has absolutely no losses by sub. It's either decision or KO, TKO, but for some reason, I just have a feeling in my plums this might be the end of that. We just saw it with Dan Ige. We called it on the show that, Dan Ige had no KO, TKO losses. He just had his first against Costa. There's been a few others this year that have finally had their first loss by that method. I just think with the momentum that Zalal's riding, when he's got 56% of his wins by sub, I just feel like it's kind of primed to happen at some point that he's just going to catch Sterling. What do you think?
Man, they got this over underline for rounds at 4.5. Juice the over to -180, which, I mean, I could see this going decision, but if there's going to be a finish, I agree with you. I think Zalal by submission would be the way to go there. Um, Looking at the money aspect, 50% of bets on both sides, 2% sharp money lean for Sterling, 52% of the pot. So Vegas would I'd much rather it's a little strong, but they would rather pay out 48% of the pot, the -125, than having to pay out any plus money, let alone the bigger half of the money to the plus money. So I'm with you, man. Like Zalal did have that bad first go around, but he's back. He looks good, man. I've been kind of like you, not the biggest fan of him. Not that I dislike him, but just I didn't. I just kind of wonder where his ceiling is, and maybe we find out in this fight because I don't see it being much higher than beating Sterling, but maybe it is. I mean, you have to beat the guys that are in front of you. Sterling's been begging for a fight. This is a fight he gets. He gets to headline an Apex card against Yusuf Zalal. I'm with you on the Zalal money line, -125, but don't feel super great about it. But I definitely feel that if you're gonna bet it, you bet that way, or maybe just avoid that fight.
What an honor to headline an Apex card in a warehouse against Yusuf Zalal at this stage of your career, man. What an opportunity.
I wonder if the guy who like opens and closes the Sam's Club feels the same way, or the Costco.
Dude, he probably does. Because, like, when he opens up the Sam's Club, he's like, all right, I know in 6 hours there's going to be people fighting in here. They're going to bring in the octagon. This is the Apex. It's just an abandoned Sam's Club.
Yeah.
They just, like, move all the stock to the back, and it's just like, all right, get the fuck out.
Right. Right. Let's get into our special picks here, Bobby. So, flip finishing fighter last week, we took Bobby Valentine at
Bobby
to
Valentino.
get the finish. I believe it was like +110, and we did not have to sweat that one long, did we, Bobby? I believe he got it within the first 2.5 minutes, right around there, easily within the first round. So let's go for back to back here. Let's do another finish instead of picking a straight method. Let's do the one that was really weird to us, man. There was not a whole bunch I felt super confident about who's going to get a finish, but let's take a swing on Martinetti. He's already the underdog. If we can get him to get the finish, KO sub at +350. I like those numbers. And I said, let's go with him there. But then we always have the haymaker, the big plus money bet at the end of every show. Our haymaker to push us over the edge. Who are you on today, Bobby?
Man, I really like that Yusuf Zalal sub at +1100.
Okay.
Another thing that makes me confident in it is Marab just got a sub against O'Malley. It just kind of felt like he hadn't had a sub in a while. Maybe his teammate's going to get caught in a sub. He gets kind of a little bit cocky. It's kind of like a full circle, weird little butterfly effect thing, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like it, man. I like going for the 4 digits, swinging for the fences. Let's see, man. That'd be awesome to hit that. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to play some money on these bets, but maybe not all of your money, why don't you get some bonus bets? Play with the house money. We have options over on our website, bettergreen.com. That's better, BETTOR green.com. DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, Fliff, Novig, Rebet, Underdog, all the type of books that you're going to want to be on. Oh, Kalshi. We got all of it. And if you don't, I mean, once again, there's no, this isn't a number card, but, no longer on ESPN Plus anymore. Now they're on Paramount Plus. Guys, we have Paramount Plus over there too. And it's $9 a month. So if you want to watch these fights, we got a link over on the website for you there as well. DFS article. It'll be out by the time this video comes out. You guys can read that, set your DFS lineups. Other than that, we got another great card coming up next. So we're going to be covering that one. Be pretty excited about it. Enjoy this card, guys, and we'll see you all next week. Peace, guys.
Peace.